Your brain is in a chemically overloaded state right now, not as a figure of speech, but in a physical sense. While you're hearing this, tiny protein fragments are building up in the gaps between your neurons. Beta amyloid, tau tangles, and other metabolic leftovers your cells pushed out hours ago are still trapped inside your head. They're lingering in the fluid that surrounds your brain tissue, suspended there. And if you sleep the way most people do, those substances will still be there when you wake up. Because how you place your body at night decides whether your brain is flushed clean or left to stagnate. You've noticed the feeling, haven't you? That mental haze that lingers even after a full night's rest. The way memories slip away, impossible to grasp. The deep fatigue that caffeine can't fix. You chalk it up to pressure, getting older, or living too fast. But what if the real issue isn't the duration of your sleep, but its physical alignment? What if the curve of your spine, the angle of your neck, the side you naturally turn toward in the dark determines whether a vital biological process works at all? What if these positions govern something so essential that ancient healers built medical philosophies around it? This isn't about optimization. It's about staying functional. Picture the inside of your head for a moment. Your brain isn't a motionless object, it's a dynamic metropolis. 3 pounds of tissue that burns through about 20% of your body's energy while making up only 2% of your weight. Every thought, memory, and emotional response generates waste. Neurons operate like non-stop factories. And factories always leave residue behind. Broken proteins, damaged molecules, cellular fragments. In the rest of your body, the lymphatic system removes this debris. But the brain has no traditional lymph vessels. For generations, scientists had no clear answer for how the brain handled its cleanup. It was a major gap in medical understanding. Then, in 2012, researcher Maiken Nedergaard identified a solution that reframed everything. She named it the glymphatic system, a term combining glial cells and lymphatic function. What she uncovered was surprisingly simple. Each night, when you reach deep sleep, a remarkable shift takes place. Brain cells, neurons and their supporting cells, physically contract. Not slightly, but dramatically, shrinking by up to 60%. This creates wide passageways between them. Cerebrospinal fluid then rushes through these spaces, driven by the rhythmic beating of your arteries. It's a nightly flood that sweeps across your brain, clearing out the debris left behind by waking life. But there's a twist. This cleansing process isn't equally effective in every sleep posture. Nedergaard's research showed that glymphatic flow works about 25% better when you sleep on your side than when you lie on your back or stomach. Resting laterally, on either the left or right, produces the most efficient setup for this cleaning cycle. This comes down to gravity, the alignment of major blood vessels, and how cerebrospinal fluid travels through glymphatic channels. Your body instinctively recognizes which position allows waste to drain most effectively. Think about that for a moment. Neuroscience confirmed this only in 2012, using radioactive tracers, advanced MRI scans, fluorescent dyes injected into living mouse brains, massive funding, and years of intensive research, only to conclude that side sleeping cleans the brain better than any other posture. So explain this. Why did Ayurvedic healers 3,000 years ago recommend vimukshi, sleeping on the left side, as the basis of mental clarity? Why did they claim this position calms the mind, supports digestion, and extends life? They had no brain scans. They didn't know neurons existed. And yet, they understood something. And why, in his final moments, did the Buddha lie down in what his followers called the lion's posture? Right side resting on the ground, one hand supporting the head, legs gently bent. This was not accidental. Buddhist meditation texts describe this position as ideal for keeping awareness steady while the body rests, allowing mental clarity even as sleep approaches. They referred to it as the posture of awakening. Not sleep as unconsciousness, but sleep as cleansing. Were these traditions guessing, or were they carefully observing something we later overlooked? What ancient systems recognized, and modern science is rediscovering, is that the body and consciousness are not separate. The alignment of the spine influences the movement of thought just as the shape of a riverbank directs water. They didn't need a scientific explanation of the glymphatic system. They watched outcomes across generations. They saw that people who slept on their sides woke up clearer. They noticed improved dreams, stronger memory, and longer life associated with certain positions. So they encoded these observations into tradition, expressed through the language of their era, and preserved them. But today, we want mechanisms. So here it is. The glymphatic system depends on three key conditions. First, the brain must reach deep non-REM sleep, stages 3 and 4, where slow delta waves dominate. This is when brain cells contract and space opens between them. When anxiety is high, when cortisol is elevated, when sleep stays shallow and restless, the glymphatic system barely turns on. Stress doesn't just disrupt rest, it blocks the brain's ability to clear waste. Second, this system follows a circadian rhythm. It reaches peak activity during your natural sleep window, aligned with melatonin release and a drop in core body temperature. This is why inconsistent sleep schedules are neurologically damaging. You're not only losing sleep, you're missing the brain's cleaning phase. Third, and this is what ancient traditions sensed, proper physical positioning is required. Side sleeping matters because of how it aligns the brain with major venous drainage routes. The internal jugular vein, which carries blood and metabolic waste away from the brain, functions more efficiently when you're lying on your side. Gravity supports the flow. Your body's shape becomes the framework for brain maintenance. Consider the implication. Every night spent sleeping on your back leaves roughly 25% more waste behind. Each night of fragmented sleep, each night stress traps you in lighter stages, adds another load of metabolic debris. And this waste is not harmless. Beta amyloid, the protein linked to Alzheimer's disease, is removed through the glymphatic system. So are tau proteins associated with cognitive decline, along with inflammatory compounds that injure neural tissue. Your brain creates these substances daily as a consequence of thinking. The real question is whether they're cleared out at night. And now comes the obvious question, left side or right side? Ancient traditions didn't fully agree, and modern research hasn't yet delivered a final verdict. Ayurveda favors the left side, citing the placement of the heart and the movement of digestive energy. Buddhism emphasizes the right, mirroring the Buddha's final resting position. Modern studies indicate that both are far better than sleeping on the back or stomach, with only a small difference between left and right. My view is that ancient traditions were describing the same flow from opposite perspectives. The central principle stays the same: sleeping on your side activates the brain's cleaning process. So here is your guideline, a return to an older wisdom. Tonight, when you lie down, pick a side. Put a pillow between your knees to maintain spinal alignment. Let your head settle comfortably, not lifted by stacked pillows. Shape your body in a way your brain recognizes from a time before modern beds, sleep aids, and artificial light. Above all, safeguard deep sleep. Make your room fully dark. Lower the temperature. Remove screens that fracture attention and elevate cortisol. Your glymphatic system is indifferent to deadlines or online activity. It responds only to whether your brain reaches the physical and neurological conditions that allow the nightly cleansing flow to occur. This is lion sleep. Not because it makes you powerful, but because it makes you clear. Because it respects the ancient insight that the body knows how to restore itself when placed correctly. Science didn't invent this truth, it recalled it. We're not moving forward. We're returning. So tonight, as the lights go out and your mind settles, roll onto your side. Notice the weight of your head, the straightness of your spine, and understand that this is more than rest. You're taking part in a process older than words. A purification that unfolds in the quiet gaps between thoughts, where the tide rises and carries residue away. Which side you choose matters less than recognizing that you are choosing. Subscribe to remember what you already knew.